1 week season.
Guys, today it is the Thanksgiving slate on tap, the three-gamer, and Hilow. The simple question he is asking is this: what if the games play out differently than everyone is expecting, than the field is expecting, and this lineup will stand to benefit? That is what Hilow is going to be breaking down today. Guys, with that, we welcome you into the DFS lab. He is Hilow, I am Cheeseman, your host, and we are attacking the three-game slate for Thanksgiving. Guys, it's pretty much like the one of the best times of the year for a football fan, a DFS player. As always, this show presented by 1 Week Season. Guys, as you can see on the banner below, check out oneweekseason.com. They have some great Black Friday deals going on there, up to 80% off in some cases, as you can see. And as always, we would love it if you would drop a like, subscribe to the channel, guys. Hilow, how you doing, man? We are recording this, full disclosure, on Monday evening, but I think we already have a decent idea on the happenings for the three-game slate. But yeah, man, how was your weekend? And man, how excited are you for some Thanksgiving football?
It was a brutal weekend for me last weekend, dude. I was all over the Lions. They were like my highest confidence team. I was all over the Patriots. So I was well overweight Hunter Henry. But all of my Lions exposure was like a complete overstack. So that included the nice zero burger from JMO. Yeah. So that was fun. I also took some stands at running back that outside of Jahmyr Gibbs had a lot of Kenneth Walker, had a lot of Travion Henderson, had a lot of Bashal Tutin. And obviously those all laid stinkers as well. So it was a frustrating week from the sense of like, I knew where the directional certainty was, but like, if you did not get it exactly right, like there were just so many players that you had to have. Like you had to have Jahmyr Gibbs. You may or may not have had to have JSN paired with him, but like there were ways to make that work last week. And then like obviously you could supplement JSN, swap him out for Amon-Ra. But yeah, it was just like if you didn't have the players that went off, and I kind of hate slates like that because it's just so hard to like win a slate like that. It
reminds me of
everything.
Like there's always a couple, like, I mean, I have always missed like those 50 plus performances, like the one with Tyreek Hill a few years ago when it just like he went nuts. And then I remember famously, dude, the Will Fuller slate. I'm sure you just remember just me saying Will Fuller.
The 3 touchdown game.
Yeah, it's just like stuff like that. But yeah, the combinations were tough yesterday. Yeah, JSN is just like, just crazy efficient. Pretty much, yeah, like you said, had to have him paired with.
Yeah, like the Titans like held the Seahawks in check through the first like quarter and a half, and then it just kind of opened the runway for JSN to continue seeing pass volume to and the Titans had another return touchdown. It's like you can only play players against the Titans if they like score a return touchdown because they're not scoring on their own. Like it happened again.
Like the Giants, like I really liked the Giants, the spot for them, and Darius Slayton, like loved him. Wan'Dale Robinson is always kind of that like tough player to play, but then he ends up having a huge game, and a lot of it was that trick play that just you can't predict that kind of thing.
Yeah, right off the bat after their first drive is like you had to have Wan'Dale. Like I just knew the spot was so good.
Right.
And on Saturday I kind of we have this love-hate relationship with Wan'Dale because like on paper he is going to always be like perennially over-owned relative to his chances of returning, something that like you had to have just because he's a low to moderate ADOT guy in this offense. Obviously, the team was coming off of like an outlier rush rate over expectation the week before, but that was like in this crazy wind game. But at the same time, like on Saturday on the slate, I was like, I'm not usually playing Wan'Dale Robinson. He is a floor play. He's going to project well. He's going to go over owned because of it. This week, though, like I'm on some Wan'Dale. It just happened to like be the week where that, trickeration was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't have him with Jameis, which sucked. I was all Goff pretty much this weekend. And it sucks too, because I loved Jackson Dart. And then he was ruled out like late Friday. And I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to Jameis. And then, of course, Jameis catches a touchdown, his first of his career, and goes over 300 yards. And it's like, damn it.
They're just doing all these. They're basically doing the Lions to the Lions, like doing.
Yeah, and kudos to them, dude. And kudos to them. Like Kafka is, I don't think Kafka is the coach of their future. but he's at least going out and like doing the right things. Like I said before Jameis was mentioned as the starter or named the starter 2 weeks ago, I was like, they have to go to Jameis. There's no other option. They have to right now.
Yeah.
So he did that. And then we've seen them kind of lean forward a little bit and, having some trickeration and going forward on fourth downs and doing the right things at least. So I'm just not a big fan of Kafka's, the structure of his offense. He's kind of an old school type coach. So, but yeah,
and
it was an interesting week.
man. You've been preaching structures of different offenses for so long. It's like the Cardinals, dude. Like the Cardinals with Kyler.
Well, they look great now.
Yeah, I know.
All hail Jacoby.
Jacoby Brissett and Michael Wilson is just the new superstar. Cool. All right, dude. You ready to look at this Thanksgiving slate?
Yes. And I'll tease it as well. We'll just talk about some things, some top level stuff. Because these short slates, I love them because they are more strategic than a bigger slate. So if we talk about, let's talk about optimal real quick. The smaller the slate, so the fewer teams that are on a slate, theoretically speaking, the closer to optimal you have to get. We go all the way down to showdown where it's a 1-game slate. And more often than not, about 75% of the time, you need exact optimal in order to win. And that might be bigger. That data is a couple years old. So it might even be closer to 85%. Then you go out to like the 13-game slates where we don't have buys like week 4 or week 4, where we don't have buys. There's no international games. We have a full 13-game slate because it's only Thursday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. On slates like that, theoretically speaking, because the sample size is bigger, you are allowed bigger deviations away from optimal in order to win. So if we just consider this 3-game slate, where on that spectrum would we have to be? We have to be closer to optimal.
Exactly.
And the clearest way to get closer to optimal from a strategy standpoint, and that's why I love these small slates because they're a little bit more strategy heavy. The pricing is going to be looser because DraftKings and FanDuel want to get casuals into playing, like eating with the family. They dropped the price of their main contest to $5. Like, hey, let's throw $15 and get drunk. Like that's who they're catering to. Yeah. So, I'm going to get like FILOC, which we call in aviation as a food-induced loss of consciousness. So that's what the tryptophan demons coming for you. But like that's what Thursdays and that's what Thanksgiving slates are typically set up as. So pricing is a little bit looser. They want to invite the casuals. We want to be comfortable building rosters with players we recognize for the casual observer. So that's kind of what we're thinking. And if we remove salary altogether, it would be highly unlikely on a given Thursday slate, a 3-game slate where actual optimal includes like all the high price guys. It's just, that's not how football and variance and stuff like that works.
Yeah.
So now knowing that we have to be like closer to optimal, the easiest way to generate leverage on the field is to think about how the games are likeliest to play out. Think about how the field is likely to approach those games, and then build something different. Build to the 10% outcome of a game environment developing into something that we weren't expecting. That's the easiest way to like generate meaningful leverage and put ourselves in position to like win one of these slates is that strategy angle. So we're going to kind of adopt that mindset as we're building this roster. And we'll just like go through the games real quick. The first game of the Thanksgiving slate is the Packers
contest real fast here. I just was going to ask you real fast. You as a single entry player, like what kind of contests are you playing on Thanksgiving?
I'm playing the big stuff. I'm playing the $5 milli.
Ooh, dude, let's go. Okay, I'll just jump into that because it's like 600,000 entries.
Yeah,
but like so, I mean, like you're maxing that basically, probably, right?
Right, because
Love it.
Of the discussion of optimal that we had before. So I know that I'm okay embracing additional variance on a smaller slate like this.
Yeah.
I know that the casuals are going to be flooding these contests and then they are not going to. So I go into it saying I don't want to waste an optimal roster if I land on it. And it's very hard to do, but I don't want to waste an optimal roster on the spy, like hitting it, like winning 50K, 25K, 100K. Like if I'm going to go optimal and I know I'm going to be shooting for optimal, so I'm going to take a very variance rich approach. I'm going to just be like, if I hit it, I want the maximum payout. So I'm not going into building $150 or $155 rosters saying I'm going to build these for all the games playing to their likeliest scenario. Like, no, dude, I'm going to get weird with it. And if you're okay, like embracing additional variants, I think this is a good spot to do that, is a short slate like this, where again, it's flooded by casuals. People are thinking about how these games are likeliest to play out, and kind of building through that lens. So
I love that.
The first game on this slate is the Packers and the Lions. How is this game likeliest to play out? It's likeliest to play out to a divisional meeting between two opponents that are facing each other for the second time. So that kind of plays more towards the downside. So that's probably how the field is viewing this spot. And they're probably saying like, hey, I don't expect offensive eruption. We saw the Packers shut down the Lions in week 1. That game played to 27-13 with the Lions struggling. Now we have the Lions with their backs kind of against the ropes a little bit. They went from fighting for second in the division behind the Packers. Now the Bears have come out of nowhere. Dude, that division is insane, dude. The NFC North and the NFC West this season are so fun. It's just so competitive, hyper competitive. Sorry, Cardinals. Sorry, Vikings fans. Everybody else is having a great time.
Yeah, seriously. It's like the Vikings are just like, okay, we got no shot.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've been singing the anti-praise. I've been shitting on Kyler for 2 years now. I feel like I was first to the party on the JJ McCarthy hate because he was getting so much steam this offseason. He's just not ready to be an NFL quarterback. But whatever. We digress.
I've had friends who are like, I've had friends who are like, man, he's just a winner, man. He just knows how to win.
Yeah, like that means nothing.
That isn't always enough, when you have really complex equations like that you have to break down in real time.
And to be fair, like honestly, this has nothing to do with the slate, but real quick, like Kevin O'Connell is doing him no favors. A rookie quarterback, an effective rookie quarterback, he has all of 5 starts in his NFL career. An effective rookie quarterback should not have the deepest deep throw rate or the highest deep throw rate in the league of qualified passers. Like, you just can't win like that, man. You're asking a little bit too much. And I think a lot of the struggles of the offense, schematically speaking, have a lot to do with TJ Hawkinson, because he just does not look right coming off of his ACL tear. He's just not the same, man. I posted a video earlier this season where TJ Hawkinson was doing a triple deke against nobody. He's 4 yards downfield and he's and there's a linebacker 5 yards beyond him. It's what are we doing, dude? This is Pop Warner shit. He just doesn't look right.
Just against air. Yeah. That's
he just doesn't look right. So he is their primary short area option. They Jalen Naylor has a 13 ADOT. Justin Jefferson is in the 11s. Jordan Addison is in the high 12s. So everything's deep and there's no structure, and it's their short area options are Aaron Jones with an ADOT of 2 and TJ Hawkinson, who's out there deacon the ghost of his mom. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, we digress.
No, it's valid though. And that's a good shout, because I didn't realize, I just assumed O'Connell, the Vikings offense was, but yeah, it would seem set up more just easy throws, or I don't know, from a very simplified approach.
Yeah. Just get Justin Jefferson some more in-breaking stuff, dude. Let's simplify things for your quarterback.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Okay.
So yeah, continuing that discussion after that sidebar, the Packers and the Lions, the field is probably thinking this game is going to play to the downside, or a kind of muted overall game environment. We have the next game on the slate is the Chiefs and the Cowboys. What are the public perceptions of this? The Chiefs have their backs against the wall. They pulled out that emotional victory, the comeback victory against the Colts last week. and like they have a cake matchup against the Cowboys. We have the Cowboys at home, which is always a boost to expected game environments. So we're expecting like some offensive production here.
Yeah. Shootout,
Yeah. Then we get to the evening game, and it's like Lamar Jackson versus the worst defense like over the last 5 to 10 years. Okay, like we're interested there. So that's how the field is probably building. Like, let's overstack the Chiefs and the Cowboys. Let's overstack Lamar Jackson with his pass catchers. Like, it's a very clear like running back funnel and inside tight end funnel matchup against the Bengals. So let's attack that. We got Joe Burrow coming back and Jamar Chase after he missed a game for spitting. Like, there's just a lot of hype there. So we're going to flip that on its head. And again, this is not saying I think this is going to happen. This is me saying
that's the key.
If this plays out this way at a 5-10% frequency, but only 1% of the field is building this way, like that is expected value over time. And that's all we can really do.
It really is expected value. That's the key equation. Just because it's like, if that 10% scenario does hit, just your chances of winning are so much higher.
Right. So within that discussion, we're going to anchor this roster with the Packers and the Lions.
All right. Yeah.
So we'll start with Jordan Love. Again, the narrative is this is a run first offense. They are not going to lean forward in the straps. This is yada, yada, yada. But like, what if the Lions run the opening kickoff back for a touchdown and all bets are off and like we get to the oh shit level and this is a borderline must win game for both teams, like that kind of thing. Like what if? And the what if here is like the Lions are dealing with injuries in their secondary still. They had 3 missing starters last week. If they're on a short week, is that going to change? I don't know. They have a legitimate pass rush, so probably ball out quick mentality for the Packers. But if protection holds up, that kind of opens up some chances for some deep stuff going on. So we'll go Jordan Love, we'll go Christian Watson as that deep option. The Lions play a lot of man coverage and they play a lot of single high. Christian Watson has historically throughout his career been a man beater for this offense. And they're giving up production when they do deep, and that is Christian Watson as well. So we'll go like, man, this game hits the oh shit factor. Jordan Love is having to sling it maybe potentially for the most he has in a game this season. And if we do that, like we want to capture the bulk upside, and that has to come on the slate, particularly because of the names of the quarterbacks that are on the slate: Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow. Like if it's Jordan Love that is like the top quarterback on the slate, he probably has to like hit the bonus and throw for 3+ touchdowns. So Christian Watson can help in both of those fronts. He had a 2 touchdown game 2 weeks ago. He has an established red zone role. He is the deep option. This is where we get a little tricky. So now we say, where else, if anybody's building Packers stacks, where else are they likeliest to go? Probably talking about Romeo Doubs, probably talking about Josh Jacobs, who's probably going to play this week after missing last week. Probably talking about like potentially Matthew Golden, who looks like he's set to come back this week as well. But let's talk about the tight ends. The tight ends, it's basically Luke Musgrave is playing 35 to 40% of the offensive snaps as the primary pass catcher. The tight end that's leading the team in snaps on a weekly basis since Tucker Kraft went down is old Johnny Fitzpatrick. He's in a route at like a 30% frequency over the last 3 games, which is the games played without Tucker Kraft. So he's like the blocker, but in that discussion of we probably need Jordan Love to throw for 300 yards and like 3+ touchdowns. If he does that, what happens if this game gets wonky and like Fitzpatrick is scoring 2 of those touchdowns? Like, again, what is the percentage chance of that happening? Like 2%? I don't know. He's not even probably going to garner 2% ownership, and he's probably going to be even less involved in game stacks of this game. So again, optimal is a hard thing to do. In a field of 600,000 teams in a 3-game slate, we know we have to be as close to optimal as possible, if not actual optimal. So if something fluky like John Fitzpatrick scores 2 touchdowns, something like that happens, that's probably in the optimal discussion.
Yeah.
So we'll add John Fitzpatrick to this roster.
Oh, whoops. Didn't get him. Got it.
And then we will say, yeah, it's like, where is he?
Yeah.
And then we'll say, if this game environment takes off, where are the likeliest spots for the Lions production to flow? And we saw it last week. It's Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So we'll add them to this as well, both of them.
Yep.
And again, like schematically speaking, not in the greatest spot on paper. Like we would much rather click on some of these other names. We'd much rather click on CeeDee Lamb. Much rather click on Rashee Rice. Like those are easier clicks at the salary than Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But we've already like bought into saying this is the game that turns into something that it blows the other games out of the water. So if we're doing that, we got to continue that story that we're telling here.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I mean, it even is hard to envision myself building this lineup on Thursday because I'm attracted to those later games as well. But like you said, you can come up with ways that those later games play to the under. You absolutely can if you really think about it.
One other like strategic piece that we'll talk about really quickly. I don't want to eat up too much time, but what is so unique about the Thanksgiving slate is all 3 of these games are played in sequence. And we've talked about this before, but what that means is if you picture, like, I don't want to get too theoretical, but every outcome of any contest you're playing has a game tree, and it's like decision points along the game tree and it branches out. And if you think about if you're playing a 3-game slate and the entirety or all of those games are played at the same time, simultaneously as opposed to sequentially, that game tree will actually just look like an upside down Christmas tree. It'll start with a tip. That's your decision point number 1, and it'll just branch out from there and go like that. On these sequential slates, we have 3 mini game trees. So it kind of progresses differently, and that changes like how we have to approach it from like being able to adjust, because with each passing minute of each passing game, we get more information. So in a simultaneous game tree where all games are being played at the same time, and we can even equate this, we'll just equate it to like an early only slate. You get no additional information the rest of the slate. As soon as games kick off, you're locked. So the most information that you're going to get is before the games kick off. On the Thanksgiving slate, like I said, every minute, every play of every game, you get more information. So we're not going into building as we would a normal slate where we're just like, we set it and forget it. Let's go watch the games.
Yeah.
We are considering the new information that we get with each passing play, each passing minute, each passing game, because now we can adjust our rosters because we know we're shooting for optimal or as close to optimal as possible. So for that reason, I like to build duplicate lineups. I like to say, like, how close was this setup for this lineup out of game 1 or out of the first half in game 1? Then I can adjust and I can take one of those rosters one way, one of them another way for the afternoon and then the evening game, because we get more information, and that really helps us make more informed decisions.
So for example, just to walk down that for 1 second, let's say Fitzpatrick, you have him in a lineup and he catches 16-yard touchdown and suddenly he's got 10 fantasy points. That you have that information. Like, does something change for you on the rest of your builds for the rest of the day?
Yeah, I can go a little bit more chalky through the rest of the roster. So I know that, like, I don't need to take on additional risk. I don't need to accept additional variance if I've already hit on a highly variant situation.
Yes.
If John Fitzpatrick scores, puts up 12, 15 fantasy points at 2,600, whatever it is, 2,500, the bare minimum, I know that that's probably in the optimal discussion.
Exactly.
So the likeliest scenario for the rest of the games is they play out like we think. So I could just say like, yeah, I'll load up Rashee Rice and Jamar Chase and make this roster work around what is likeliest to happen the rest of the day. You could, and that's why I like to build duplicate rosters, because I can take one roster that way, and then I can take another roster and say like, I'll mix in some more variants. Maybe even build like on 150 max, you could build 50 rosters, enter them all 3 times, and now you have 3 different ways that you could take that.
Dude, yeah.
So
it's like 4D chess.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I approach this slate, is like, we have to be able to react to more information and to give myself the most fluidity within that and the most room to maneuver. I want to have more options. And so I'll build 50 rosters and I'll enter them all 3 times. And the fun thing is you can do that in 150 max. That's only $5.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, man. No, I love that. Love that. And then it's like after the first game, if like 10 of them seem to be as pretty freaking close to optimal, you work on those first, adjust them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we're just looking at the slate from a top-down approach, the game that is probably like the game of the slate, quote unquote, is the final game, which is the Bengals and the Ravens. I would say that game has a likelier chance to provide like outlier type box scores than that middle game of the Chiefs and the Cowboys. So because we've accepted additional variants already, we'll just say like, let's go to the likeliest scenario of that late game. Mm-hmm. So we'll put in Derrick Henry facing the Bengals, has gone over 100 yards in 2 of his last 4 games, has seen 20 or more opportunities in each of his last 6 games, facing the defense giving up the most fantasy points per game to running back. So that's an easy one. We'll throw in Derrick Henry. On the other side of that, probably makes the most sense with Joe Burrow coming back, Jamar Chase coming back, to just say the Bengals are likely to continue throwing the football. The Ravens have looked a lot better defensively now that they're getting healthy, now that now that they are starting more than 2 starters. they had 9 defensive starters that were out in the like week 5, which was insane. Yeah. So we'll add Jamar Chase to the roster.
All right. So we got not a lot left. You want to look at defense here?
Yeah. So I've got this mapped out already. What we need to do is continue to tell the story. So if we're telling the story that we've had the outlier performance in the morning game, the game of the slate is the later game, what are we telling happens in the middle game? Let's say that the game environment underwhelms. Let's say that the Cowboys get locked down by the Chiefs defense. Let's say that the Kansas City defense scores a defensive touchdown, has multiple sacks, has multiple turnovers. So we'll put in the Chiefs defense. And again, we want the entirety of the roster kind of working together to tell the story, as opposed to just like clicking the names that we like that are in a good spot. Absolutely. So that leaves us with 2,600. We have one option, and it kind of plays into the variance aspect, but one of those avenues that is like taking the likeliest outcome, but giving it a little twist. And so we'll put Isaiah Likely in this roster. Oh, wait, where are we at, dude? We have... Okay, so yeah, move Amon-Ra to wide receiver.
Oh, I see. Yeah, totally.
I was confused. Okay, so now we have Isaiah Likely at 2,600. The Bengals are also allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing tight ends.
There we go. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be clicking Mark Andrews. We'll say like, hey, Isaiah Likely, rips off one of his patented 40-yard touchdowns here. But Lamar Jackson isn't throwing the football a ton, and the touchdowns are coming from Derrick Henry mostly. But if Isaiah Likely is ripping off a 40-yard touchdown at 2,600, he is highly likely to be in the optimal discussion here.
Love it, dude. Love it. I like this. Guys, for those listening on the podcast, this is the build that we landed on. Great discussion, Hilow. Finishing with mainly a Packers-Lions game stack. Jordan Love, John Fitzpatrick at tight end, Christian Watson, the receiver, and then coming back with Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then filling it in with some high-confidence pieces, Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, and then the Chiefs defense and Isaiah Likely in the flex. Hilow, great stuff as always, man. Any final thoughts, man, or a culinary advice before we send this one off for Thanksgiving?
You should not like your rosters on this Thanksgiving slate. They should look gross like this.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing because it's like
Yeah.
you're like, I want to be sitting and watching the game. I want to like be, rooting for the Stars. But no, this is good, dude. I mean, are we in it to win it here? So that's great stuff, dude. Hilo, happy Thanksgiving, man. Hope you enjoy it with your family. And yeah, man, thanks for the time today on the DFS Lab as always.
Likewise, brother. We'll see you.